We just kind of had a lighter workout today. We put a huge emphasis on our 2s and 3s. Our 1s were involved in the kicking game, and then they had a 20-minute introduction to LSU at the end of practice. But got a lot of really good quality work with our 2s and 3s, and excited to see those guys grow. Our developmental guys need to keep moving forward. Obviously, they're going to be huge for us in the future, but also down the stretch, we've had some guys get injured, and some number 2s popped into those roles, and encourage the guys to learn from those examples. From an injury standpoint, Andre Tolliver practiced today, looked really good, so we'll go a little bit more with him tomorrow, but he should be full go for us the LSU week. And moving forward, Cameron Jefferson isn't back practicing with us yet, but he was out there moving around, and should have him by next Sunday or Tuesday to be involved in the game plan. And those are the really 2 injury guys. And then Corliss Marshall returned, and it's got fresh legs. Looked really nice out there today. So it's good to have him back with us. Obviously, not just from a running back standpoint, but from a return game specialist. So good news there. We'll take advantage of this bye week. Have a really good practice tomorrow, one Thursday afternoon, and give our guys a little bit of time Friday, Saturday, and come back on Sunday. Normally on Sundays we don't do a lot, but we'll have a big jump on Sunday. With LSU preparation, take a look at the Alabama game that they play on Saturday, any adjustments moving forward. But this far into the season, people kind of lock into what they do, offense, defense, special teams. So get ready for a month of November that hopefully is one for us to all remember. Got a great opportunity with us for 2 home games and 1 road game, and see where that takes us for the rest of the year.
Does that mean Corliss is going to play against LSU?
Does it mean? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's cleared to play and ready to play, and obviously I don't know how much. A lot of that depends on how well he practices, but yeah, there's no limitations. Cam just had a little knee issue. We had to go in and clean it up, but didn't want to travel him last week, and should be again get minimal swelling out of there, and should be ready to roll by Sunday. Yeah, he just cleaned up a little bit of issue. Yeah, I was. I'm sure you guys probably. I saw that. I always walk out on the field and check on the injured. When I was walking out there, it looked like he kind of really, I don't know, that awkward. The leg looked awkward, but the only thing he really had was a deep thigh bruise, and has had no issues. Was moving around out there great today, and nothing moving forward.
Antwine on the special team?
Anthony Antwine, yeah, he was just again got leg whipped, but he's got no problems. Jay Will, yeah, he did. He came out with a brace. Yeah, we'll back off him and Alex, as I normally do with our tailbacks during their bye week. But yeah, nothing of significance.
How big a boost is it getting Corliss? Had he been practicing with you?
No, he hadn't. I just kind of made a decision that since he was going to be removed from games, that I was going to remove him from practice and let him know, where he's at. I think the good understanding is, during that time away, he has done extremely well in the classroom. All the things that we put in front of him that he needed to do, he did very, very well. And I think he understands that, he's on that last straw, and anything that he does moving forward has got to make great decisions to make sure that he's has the ability to stay here and play the game that he loves to play at the University of Arkansas.
What does it feel about wanting to make? I know you talked about wanting to make a bowl game for the extra practices and whatnot. How critical is it just for the process of the
I mean, you could probably hand select maybe if I said bowl games are great for extra, but I would never. That's never an emphasis of mine. I think the part that we want to do in November, it was pointed out to me. I think at my last place I was like 28-2 in November, and I kind of made an emphasis to our guys the way that they're trained year round every day is to make them stronger as the year goes on. And we took it down to the wire against the #1 team in the country. We didn't have success. We got a bye week that we need to maximize, and then these 3 weeks are going to give us a great indicator of, I think, what they'll learn during these next 3 weeks will be a great recall for them in the future. Like, hey, this is when, before there were SEC championships and Big 12 championships and all those championship games, you kind of, as a coach, learned in September you put yourself in position. October you played yourself to the possibility of being talked about for a championship, and November is when you win championships.
And I don't need to remind you how brutal some of these losses have been this year, but have you in any way changed things, or the way you approach talking to the kids to help them kind of get over the emotional toll that this is taking?
I think if your team wasn't being managed very, very well, you would not see the results you're seeing. You would see teams that just get handed one-sided losses very, very routinely, and these guys never quit. I think they have shown that all year long, and it's not, it's kind of like it's not an option in our program. I think last year there were times where things got a little lopsided. I just don't think we had the right dogs in the fight. We didn't have guys that physically could ask or answer some of the things we were asking them to do. And I just kind of said to our guys in there, 10 minutes ago, listen, we've got the personnel. We want more and we want better depth and everything else. But the things that are costing us right now are some mental miscues, and whether it's one a game, two a game, or one on offense, one on defense, one on special teams, those are the things that prohibit you from winning against good competition in close games, and that's what we got to stress, I think, as those practices get a little bit more intense.
The running game hadn't been as productive of late, and I understand why that's probably who you're playing, but what's your level of concern with the running game and short yardage situation?
Anytime we can't, especially down there near the goal line, can't punch it in, it gets concerning. I think you got to look at A, what's being called, B, you got to look at the execution of what the call is, and then you take into a certain account what the defense is doing. One thing I noticed against Mississippi State is kind of the same formula that Auburn had a year ago, that they were mediocre at best, on statistics really in defensive categories, but one that jumps out to you is they're number one in the SEC and number one in the country in red zone defense. And it doesn't really matter what happens, but once they get down there, if they can hold you out of it, you're going to win a lot of games, and that's what happened twice to us.
Is there something you think you can do to get the running game more productive down the stretch?
Yeah, we can definitely execute better. I think there's no doubt about that, whether it's a guy that can't make a block or a guy that can't hold a block, or maybe a running back that misreads something. You can always adapt your game plan to what an offense is doing or what a defense is doing against you. But I think again a lot of those things, two of them were in the fourth quarter when we're just running out of a little bit of juice. Where depth is going to help you eventually. I really, I think one of the things that was awesome about Mississippi State was, they got the whole 1A, 1B defense, and I think offensively and defensively, when you can get to that point, you're gonna. That's a luxury that very few people can afford.
You look forward to having a 7 p.m. game against LSU at night.
You know what? I didn't even know that. I'm all about the now. I do know. The night games are pretty great environment here, from what we've seen, and depending on obviously what happens between LSU and Alabama, I think regardless they're going to be very well thought of. And coming into here and playing for the boot at night is going to be a great opportunity for our guys in particular.
With you probably backing off Jay Will and Alex this week to give them time to heal up with
Corliss, Denzel.
Knock off some rust. Does Corliss get a lot of work?
He did.
What kind of boost does his return give everybody?
Well, we'll work the return game, the kickoff return game tomorrow. But I'm going to get him involved in all four phases of the kicking game, just because he's got that unique speed. So hopefully we'll expand his role in not just the return game, but also on some coverage units, because he can fly. I think the fact that he popped in there today, you could kind of just see that his legs are a little different. Freshness than the other guys. He just got some bounce to him that was very, very clear from the first time he touched the ball.
Coach, big recruiting week for you.
Yeah, we. The one thing I've been really been impressed with our staff. I think we've had a plan in place to get our guys that we kind of have targeted, and a good plan to hone in on them. We had a certain number committed to us before the season started. We had known about a couple guys that were going to jump into our boat here sooner than later. We'll have another nice addition here this week, and the good thing is as your numbers grow, you obviously can hone in on the guys that you got to get that much better. But the flip side of it is, you have to be selective. And okay, I'm going to take this guy. That means I can't take this guy. And I knew that we would be a very efficient recruiting staff and get stronger as our staff was here more. So that's really beginning to see right now. Okay, Nate. I think he came back. I think Tuesday he practiced, but it wasn't everything. And then Wednesday he went out there and felt pretty good. And then Thursday we backed off it a little bit. But I think he'd be the first to say he wasn't quite himself, in the game. But I think he's I went up to him today before practice and just asked him how I was feeling. He goes, Coach, I don't feel anything at all. A week ago he felt it. This week he's like, Coach, I don't feel anything relating to that injury whatsoever. So I think 51 will be back.
You said Corliss off 4 phases. That means he get a chance to return punch as well?
No, not necessarily that. He's a good kick returner, but punt return is a different animal, as you can probably tell. That sometimes my best kick returners of all time couldn't field a punt, and we'll let him. That might be something we'd explore in the offseason. I know we looked at it, but he's a very good return man when he can get it and he can go straight ahead. A lot of times those punt returners have to make a guy miss right at their face, so he'll stay away from that. I was very happy with Jared in that regard last week.
You can make a question about emotion, up and down. Have you ever, or would you ever consider bringing a sports psychologist in to talk to your guys when they're going through a tough time?
During season, there's guys on our roster right now that regularly see. We have this athletic department hired a sports psychologist during the out of season. One of the things that I was very excited about, but there's certain guys just at times need to talk to people, and it's not for public consumption. It's just there. But I maybe an occasional Friday night talk, but I don't think anybody knows the team that you're coaching better than you or your assistant coaches. So unless somebody's got a problem with the way our guys have played and competed in 4 quarters this year, it'd be news to me. I'm amazed that they're playing as hard as they have with as much socks in the stomachs as they've gotten. So I've actually been pretty pleased.
How do you get over the critical penalties, critical mistakes that you made down the stretch?
Well, the good news was there wasn't any on defense. They were all on offense. So, I think we gotta get it cleaned up. We can't. Second man always gets caught. Drew's penalty was very frustrating. 2 of the procedure penalties were, I think, a little bit induced by an interruption to the regular way that we call a play, which caused Denver to jump, and then the other time when Hunter jumped, it took a little bit. There was one extra call that went in there, and guys become creatures of habit, and that's going to be controlled from the quarterback position. So we got to clean it up. We're still. I think we were penalized 6 times. So we're considerably under what other people, but for us to have the formula to have success, we definitely have to eliminate them.
Cowbell's a factor. You feel you want
No, I don't think cowbells. I heard the volume, but I don't hear the cowbells effect. I think it's you're playing on the road in a loud SEC environment. Like I think teams have troubles when they come here.
The play that this Spank was injured on, did you send that to the SEC, or did you talk about the penalty that was there that wasn't called?
No. Again, I haven't. I sent in a couple plays that were procedural questions that I wanted to ask, but as of about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I have refrained from sending in any plays just because I felt that for us to move forward, we needed to stop questioning what was going on.
On your next to last drive, did you consider kicking a field goal there?
On the next to last drive?
Yeah, it was 17.
Oh, no. I think after we went forward on 4th down, didn't know if we were ever going to get another opportunity to get back out there, and wanted to be aggressive with our play call. So once we crossed midfield there, I told Jimmy we're in 4-down territory and never went back. 2 field goals would have been short of 7, so.
I guess you're on this mustache thing from Mike Slide.
Yeah. I guess they reached out to me last week and didn't pressure me on it just because I was getting ready for the game. But, Commissioner Slive has been in a very been probably one of the neatest relationships for me to build since coming here, just because I didn't know him at all. And coming from a different conference and getting around him, getting to know him personally, I've had several in-person conversations and several on the phone, and he's just a really neat human being that's had a lot of effect on this game. And when they came at me with the idea, and I said I'm all in, just tell me what I need to do. I'm probably better than where I can cover up my face. That's probably a better thing. But I don't know if I'm going to do a mustache, but I'll definitely. If somebody told me I don't have to shave for a month, I'm all in. But it's
I think you can do a beard.
Yeah, I can do a beard. That's what I'm volunteering for. But it's just kind of, you're in a profession where, so I've been in numerous high schools the last, 24, 48 hours, and you kind of have to walk in and say, listen, here's why I'm not shaving. Here's why I'm walking into your high school looking like this. But ironically, I was in 3 different states, and every place I went, there was a No Shave November going on in the school. So it's a pretty common thing that I was oblivious to. So anything to honor the commission is good.
What do you think Alex ran on Saturday? Was it good to see him?
Alex Collins. Yeah, he definitely it was his best game in a while. It was good to see him come back and respond the way that we needed to have him do, because I think Jay Will got a little dinged up there, and when we leaned on him, ran the ball pretty well. Had one of our very few explosive plays where he made a nice cut. I think that he would be the first to tell you there were a couple in the first half where he got a little antsy and jumped on the backside, where if he stayed front side, there were huge hits. But Alex is a very unique kid. He's got a lot of talent. He's still have a lot of growth to do. I know that we continue to work with him and try to help him. The good news is he's got really good grades across the board for the first time that I've been around him that are very, 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 very good. So that's encouraging. Hopefully, it's baby steps with him, man. It's like, what about Bob? I mean, it's baby steps every day, and hopefully someday he'll be able to walk on his own.
With the exception of the interception that Brandon threw, I mean, the last 2 drives, that were 4th down conversion that you guys were able to.
Yeah, BA did some good things. I think he'd be the first to tell you as well. It wasn't his best game. He had really kind of put together a couple 3 games in a row where I thought he was coming into his own. I know he would love to take the last throw back, obviously, but made some really good throws to get us in that position. And we did a little exercise on Sunday with a team where I would go at one player and I'd say, I respect and love this player because of this. So I threw it at Martrell Spate, and I told the team why I feel that way, because he prepares in a way that he does it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It was made a point to me. Rob Smith made a point when we're doing 7-on-7 and Skelly, Martrell is a linebacker yelling calls to a defensive line that's not there, and it shows you the commitment that he has to communication. And so I kind of brought that up, and then Martrell has to then say it to somebody else in the room, and he threw it to Trey, and he said why he loved Trey and what he did. And then the first thing Trey stood up, then he threw it to BA. And I thought it was very interesting, because here's a senior captain who threw it to, and he basically just talked about how BA has tackled every week and the challenges that he's had, and takes a lot of heat that nobody else can even imagine, because he's the quarterback and he just lines up and does his business. So my guess is BA was going to respond very, very well.
If he scored at the end, did you made a decision whether the kicker go for 2, go for the win?
And then I would be tipping my hat if I'm in that same situation again. But I think when you're on the road, the idea of being aggressive at all times is always in your favor.
Last year, this time, you had a guy like Brooks who was able to be plugged in and start playing. Is there any younger guys that you feel like you can get?
Well, I think the good news is that we're not in a desperate need of it. I'd love to have more depth. I get it, but we got some guys that are Martrell Spate. I mean, that guy is like incredible. I mean, you throw on the NFL scouts when they're coming through, and I don't know where he stands in the SEC now, but I mean, he is incredibly talented, and he's making plays. Him and Trey Flowers played their best games. I mean, Darius Philon, we moved him from 3 technique to 1 technique because their best player was their center, and he ate him up. And did some really good things. I think offensively, some guys continue to get better. I would say that I wish we had a couple more offensive line depth to get done what we need to get done. Probably some more depth at the receiver position, and then to not have Andre Tolliver. When he's playing, he's our best corner. And I was flying with a couple of my coaches to Houston on Sunday night late, and we kind of all just made the comment. If Andre had played the A&M game and possibly in that Mississippi State game, there's a good chance I think things would have happened differently. So the good news is we've recruited a lot of really good players. We got a lot of guys on our commitment list right now. The way we develop players and the way Ben Herbert works, there's some guys. Santos Ramirez, I would love to let you guys come and watch a practice, because he is incredibly talented, and he's just not going to play for us this year.
I guess Rohan and Skipper left the game at times.
Yeah, Skip's got a a little bit of a rolled ankle, nothing significant. We're going to hold. We did hold him out of practice today. He took part in a walkthrough. I don't know if he'll go tomorrow, but he won't be an issue for next week.
And Rohan, too?
Yeah, Rowan, he was in green, but he's no problem.
On that touchdown pass, was that, were you supposed to have safety help over the top there, or was that?
The big one on that for them that gave them the last score. Yeah, absolutely. There was not safety help, but there was supposed to be a deep thirds player to that side that obviously wasn't there. So played 63 really good snaps of football, and 62 of them were decent. I should say 60 of them were really decent, but there were 2 plays that we just didn't play the way that we needed to play, and those unfortunately are the plays that cost you big in the game.
How close are you guys to getting that vertical passing game going and relying on some of those?
Well, I think, Hunter's really grown. AJ has brought some nice things there. Cody Hollister, probably didn't play his best game, but I think when he's in there clicking, the guy that I'd love to see get involved more is Kendrick Edwards. He's very talented. We've gone to him a couple different times. Keon, again, if we can get him involved in some things, but there's some guys there. We just got to be able to execute it in critical moments.